Thanks for tuning in at Brackeys.
Hello everyone and welcome to video number 16 in Make a Game, a cool series on making a video game in Unity. So today we're going to be taking a look at making our menu actually do something. So we're going to be expanding on the subject of last week's video. And this process is actually both very easy and also very fun. So you will notice that I am on a Mac today, and that's because I'm currently traveling. So I hope the quality and audio quality is just as fine as it normally is. Let's just get started. As you can see, I've already opened up Unity. And I'm just going to quickly go ahead and drag the music object up here because I like it at the top. What we're going to go ahead and do is maybe move these buttons here just a tiny bit closer together. I think they're just a tad too far apart, so I'm just going to set this to 135, and the same with the other one, 135 there. That looks a bit better. And what we can also do is we can rename this from audio to music, because I think that we are only going to be changing the music volume today. I would like this slider to do that. Awesome. So now we can actually go ahead and select the canvas here. And today we can make this pixel perfect. So if you click this, you will notice that everything looks much better and much sharper than it did before. The reason why I couldn't do that in the last video was because Unity 4.6 beta was having some problems with my Windows configuration. But on this computer it works just fine. So try it out. Awesome. So select the main camera, and we're going to add a new script. So hit add component, new script, and this is of course going to be of type JavaScript. And let's just call this main menu. And this script, let's open it up in MonoDevelop, is simply going to be a bunch of functions that we can call whenever we press our buttons and change something with our slider that does some simple things. Let's just delete the two default functions, and let's create a new one. Let's call this quit game, because that's the easiest one to do. And let's just open up some brackets. And inside of this, we're simply going to say application.quit. And we're done. That was basically it. This application.quit function will not actually do anything at all inside of the Unity editor. But once you build it to, let's say, a Windows, Mac, or Linux standalone, this will actually close down the application. So now let's save this, head into Unity, and hit play. And I'm just going to turn down the volume here a bit. You can see that when I press the button, nothing happens. But that's not because application.quit doesn't work inside the editor. That's because we have to assign it to this button. So let's just make a debug.log statement in here so we can test whether or not something is actually happening. So let's just say game is exiting. Just like this, to let us know that the button has been pressed. Now let's save this, hit play, and this should still not be working. Indeed, it is not. What we're going to do is we're going to go into our scene view, we're going to select the quit game button, then we can scroll down, and you can see that there's a list here called onClick. Excuse me. So what we can do with this onClick list is we can add items or functions that we want to be called whenever we press the button. So simply hit the plus sign. We are then going to select the object that the function is on. So that's the main camera. Then we are going to go ahead and find our script, which is main menu. And now you can see that there is a quit game function down here. So now this should indeed be called. Let's go into the console so we can see what is going on. Let's hit play. And now when we press the quit game button, it will say game is exiting. So now we know it's working. Awesome. Now let's go ahead and make another function, and this is going to be for our start game. And inside of this, we're going to say application.load level. Whoops, not loaded level, but load level. And in here, we're going to pass it a name. And we're just going to do level 1. Now save, head back into Unity. And remember, whenever we load a level in Unity, we have to also add it to the build settings. So let's go under File, Build Settings. And you can see that our level 1 is indeed added to the build. I'm also going to add the main menu and drag it up so it's right above. Cool. Now we can go ahead and find our play game button. So simply select it. And we can go ahead and add an item to the list. Let's again select the main camera. Now we are going to go on the main menu, and you should see a start game function. Indeed, we have one right here. So now when we hit play and then hit play game, the game will change scene. What we are also going to do with this is we are going to go in here, and instead of just hard coding in the name of the level that we want to load, we can use what is called an argument. Because wouldn't it be cool if we could load or start the game with different levels, with different buttons, all using the same function? That's actually relatively easy to do. All we have to do is create an argument or a parameter. And we do this inside of these two parentheses. In here, we are first going to type what we will refer to the level name as. So we'll just refer to it as level. It's basically the name of the variable that we're making. Then we are going to make a type. And this is going to be of type string, because a name is usually of type string. So now instead of hard coding level 1 in here, we'll simply type in level, because that's what we've called our variable. What this says is that whenever we call the function start game and want it just to do things in here, we'll require that we send over a name with it that we will call level, and that we can then pass in here. So now what this actually means in practice, it's okay if you don't quite understand it yet, but you will see the effect of it, is that we can select our play game button, we can scroll down, again select the function, the start game, and you can see that it takes in a string now. And this allows us in this box right here to simply type in the name of the level that we want to load. So for different buttons, we can type in different levels here, and it's also just much easier to change because we don't have to find it in code. You can just do it inside of the editor. So now when we hit play, it's again gonna work just fine, but it's now a lot more flexible, and we don't have to add a function for every single level that we want to load. We could also go ahead and change the name of this to load level, because then we can use it for much more. But since this is under the main menu script, I'm just going to call it start game. The last function that we're going to be making is also slightly different, but still just bear with me here and you will get it in a sec. So we're going to make a function, and we're going to call this set game volume. Of course, you can call it whatever you want. Then inside of the parentheses, you're going to type vol. That's what we're going to call our volume, of type float. And then we're going to open it up here. So again, we are taking in a parameter. We are calling it vol, and it's going to store the volume as a number. So that's all we're doing. We're just saying that when we're going to call this from the slider value is going to be passed in here, and we'll just call it vol for volume. Now we can go ahead and use this vol to set the volume of our music. So let's first create a reference to our music. So up here, do a var, and let's call this music of type audio source. And we can just put that in the inspector. Now inside of the setGameVolume function, all we need to do is do music.volume equals vol. Because remember, the vol here is the value of our slider. So that's all we need to do in code. We've now finished our script. Let's head back into Unity. First off, select our main camera and drag in the music object into our music audio source. That's very important, or you're going to get a null reference exception. If you get one, just remember to drag it in there. Now we can select our slider, scroll down, and you can see that we have, again, onValueChanged. This will be called every time the value changes. We're going to hit play or plus, find our main camera object, find the function under main menu, and you can see that it's up here under dynamic float, which means that we will put in whatever value of the slider as an argument, which is just what we want. So we're going to hit setGameVolume, and that's all we need to do. I'm also just going to default this to 0.45 maybe. I think that's a pretty good starting point for the volume. And now I'm just going to bump up the volume on my computer so you can hear how this affects the music. Let me hit play here and I'll just try it out. You can hear the music playing, and now I can adjust it using the slider. So that was basically all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.